Hey guys, Southern Comfort here, and we're into the greenhouse on August the 17th. We've been having extreme heat, and things have really been crazy here as far as the rain, no rain. The heat is just so extreme, the weather, but the greenhouse is still surviving. So this has been a test run for the summer for a 16 by 32 greenhouse, low sidewall, roll-up size tunnels from Grower Solutions. So I've just given a quick update on the greenhouse and letting y'all know that it is growing, it is surviving. I do see some little damage onto the leaves from the sun, but the sun is excruciating crazy here. It's extremely hot. It's really just not good, but the greenhouse is doing phenomenal. It's in August, and I got tomatoes here into the greenhouse. These are taken off and be given to somebody. The bell peppers are doing wonderful. The Swiss chard is still holding on. I mean, it's summertime and it's still, I'm just leaving it there to see if it'll, when it cools down, it'll still put out. Maybe it will. Been getting eggplants out of here and taking them and putting them in the oven, dashing them with some olive oil, salt and pepper and garlic pepper, and baking them at 400 degrees for 30 minutes, and at 15 minutes turn them over, turn them over and let them brown really good, and they are delicious. So plenty of tomatoes here. Now these two plants here, tomato plants, are Summer Pick and Homestead, and they were planted into the spring. The tomatoes into the garden that were planted at the same time, grown as seeds in cell trays, were planted at the same time, but the ones in the garden, the heat took them out, and they've been gone for at least 3 to maybe 4 weeks. My pineapple is so huge, and it suddenly just fell over. I'm hoping that I can transplant it. I was really waiting till the weather cools down before I, did that, because of transplant shock. And that's probably what I'm going to do. But it's the biggest pineapple plant I've ever seen, and now it's been over. So we'll have to deal with that later on. Hopefully it will survive. I have the fans on in here. And so that you must have fans. This is a pepper plant. It's a hot pepper plant, and this thing is a tree. So it's surviving. A lot of things have been taken out. This greenhouse is constantly changing. It's never the same. These are lemons here. I moved them back into the greenhouse because they did better into the greenhouse than outside. Just took down a tomato plant and planted some more flowers and zinnias. This is a plant I just grew by itself into the garden, throwing scraps down, and so it's a volunteer, and it's I'm trying to get it to grow in here. This is a Bulju jalapeno pepper plant. This is some butter beans. I did see some pollinators in here a while ago. I've been having pollinating problems in the garden and into the greenhouse. So here is another squash plant. I believe these are grilling squash. I'm starting to see some blooms. Bell pepper plant. These are Jamestown tomatoes that's in here. This is a hot pepper plant. It's kind of stuck in there. I'm hoping that when the beans vines are coming out, then they'll have the trellis to run on. So it's kind of crowded up at the moment. We've got oregano and believe that's oregano. No, thyme, parsley. This is a mild jalapeno pepper plant, and it is, I keep having to trim it out. It's turned into a tree. This is a chili pepper palmimo plant. It's got some peppers on them. I've been having to trim it also because the height is just unbelievable. I just didn't expect them to get that big. I put my pineapples in here. I'm growing some cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli. Got one sunflower coming up because you will have mice, rats get into your greenhouse. You got to watch for animals. I got some poison down there. They have not touched it. I come in here this morning, and this is a 2-ply landscaping ground cover here. There's one up underneath, and I put another one on top. And last night they have dug a hole, a tunnel, and came in. So there's some poison down there. I keep my doors gated off. The air still come through, but they dug a tunnel. And here is a spearmint that's still surviving, a raspberry bush that I'm gonna plant in the fall, and oregano, another squash plant. Here is the tomato, homestead tomato. They're all the way up to the top. So tomatoes do excellent into the greenhouse. So it is like a jungle in here. I have to bend down and kind of crawl through. Beautiful tomatoes. Still eating tomato sandwiches. There's one fan I got pointed down at the ground right now. The sun is really coming up, starting to heat up. I try to put this more closer up to the top. You will get some slightly wind damage if you have your plants too close, but that's not a problem. The point is to keep this air circulating into the greenhouse. And that fan shoots down the middle. It's little, but it does very well. The exhaust fan is on. I think my finger was in the way, but the sun is shining and I'm trying to move through these plants. This back fan will be on, the exhaust fan's on back there. This this fan right here, I put it on low speed. Basically, what I believe is the success of the greenhouse. You got the exhaust fans going, but keeping this air circulation in the greenhouse going, keeping that wind, not a still heat environment, but air circulation. Tomato plants need circulation. They don't need a whole lot of leaves. I don't grow leaves, I grow tomatoes. And if you, with the heat and humidity here on the southeast coast, tomato plants can't take the heat. They're out as soon as it kicks in. So you can see that there is a success with growing tomatoes into the greenhouse, keeping the leaves pruned out as much as possible. This one's got more into it because blight, disease, it will take it over. I'm extremely happy seeing the pollinators. I'm having a flea beetle problem here into the greenhouse, but I have it also into the garden. I've never had to deal with it until last year in the garden, and that is definitely an issue, and it's hard to spray. I put some neem oil out, and I hate doing that because of my pollinators, but I'm also not trying to have a total explosion of manifestation of pests of these flea beetles. So guys, I just wanted to give you a quick view of the greenhouse, letting you know it is surviving. I'm so tickled for my little bees. We don't realize how important bees are for plants. No bees, you're not going to have any fruit. Well guys, thank you so much for watching, I appreciate you so much. Quick update, the greenhouse, summertime, heat, extreme heat, here on the southeast coast. 2 days ago, it was 112 heat index. Reminding that I've said in my other videos, I have thermometers or temperature gauges, or whatever you want to call them, watching the temperature that gets in this greenhouse. Right now it's 84 degrees. With the fans, I've noticed that it does help. It does help. With the fans, I do notice that it does help that the temperature stays just about near close, or as the outside temperatures. So if it's 95, plants, when it gets 110, it's gonna explode the inside of the plants. But it keeps it down. The fans keep it down enough that these plants are surviving. A little bit of blight disease, that's normal because we have extremely high humidity. I'm talking about 80, 100%, 70, a lot of humidity. And so with it being a greenhouse, you can count on having humidity more so into the greenhouse, which can create disease. And that's why, this fan goes off in the afternoon to give it a break. But in the morning time, that's the first fan I cut on, and let the exhaust fans stay, off a little bit, because they're going to be running all day long. And the fans is the key. I really believe the fans is the key. There's no way these plants could handle it unless you have the fans. So if you're considering any type of greenhouse, you want to make sure you got proper fans and proper locations, and have roll-up sides so the airflow can go out, in and out. Keep the doors open. Now at nighttime, in certain seasons, I will shut the doors, but now we're in the heat of summer, those doors stay open. And yes, then you will have more of an insect issue, because a lot of insects roam at nighttime. But that's why you have to monitor your greenhouse, and daily, just like yesterday, overnight, rats dug through my landscaping fabric here, tunneled to come in. So you'll have to put poison out. You have to watch your animals. I don't have animals coming in here. That's one of the reasons why I put something at the door here, which is one of them right there. So I keep it there all throughout the day to keep other animals out, like other people's cats trying to come in here and use it as a cat litter box, or other varmints. Well guys, thank you so much for watching. Give me a thumbs up. Thank you for subscribing, and thank you for watching. I appreciate you so much for taking the time to stop by here onto the homestead and seeing how this greenhouse is doing, seeing that it's surviving. Because one thing you want to do is to go off of somebody else's successful experience. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you on to the next video.